Do you remember Gangnam Style?
Oppan Gangnam Style.
Remember how huge that song was in 2012? It was everywhere. Everyone knew that song. You couldn't escape that song any more than you could escape that stupid dance. That was a lot of people in the West's first exposure to K-pop, and it certainly was for me. For the uninitiated, K-pop is shorthand for popular music from South Korea, and it's arguably that country's most well-known export. Okay, fast forward like 5 years, and Gangnam Style was regarded as a super buzzy, viral hit from Korea that shattered YouTube records, but not much else. Psy didn't have any other mega hits in the US like that one, and no other K-pop song or artist achieved anywhere near the level of success that Gangnam Style had. It was a fun exposure to another country's pop music scene, but it mostly seemed like a flash in the pan as far as general Western audiences were concerned. That is, until 7 pretty boys, collectively known as BTS, began invading our airwaves around 2017. And before I continue any further, I just want to tell you why I'm talking about this. Like many Americans and Westerners, I heard K-pop on the radio and on streaming from time to time when BTS became big over here. And then I heard even more when Blackpink showed up. I've always liked the songs alright, but I never really got into K-pop as a whole. It just seemed too foreign, and it didn't really appeal to me. I've changed my tune on that in the past couple years, and I've really started to broaden my horizons in the genre by listening to the hits and perusing the K-pop playlists on Spotify. My interest has accelerated over the past few months as I found songs I really liked and I kept going back to those artists. And then about a month ago, I just dove headfirst into the world of K-pop. I was just having one of those weeks where I just needed a distraction to immerse myself in. And for this instance, I chose K-pop. And I fell in love with it. It is seriously addictive. I watched every music video and live performance that came my way, watched deep dives and documentary on the subject, learned the names of the idols and most of the big groups, and even learned some of the Korean lyrics of songs I like. I know, it sounds obsessive, and maybe it is. But the more of this I watched, the more I loved it. And the more I understood why other people love it too, even if you don't speak a word of Korean. This endeavor really taught me about the things that I value in music, and it gave me some realizations about the music industry as a whole. I also learned a bunch about K-pop, and I really want to talk about it. About 90% of the things I talk about in this video are things I've learned in the past month. Also, throughout the video, I'm going to be using the term idol a lot, which is essentially shorthand for a member of a K-pop group. This isn't supposed to be a comprehensive history of K-pop. These are just some of my observations and thoughts. We'll go over what I observed, what I liked, what I'm worried about, and what I think the future holds. So let's get to it. First off, one thing that I learned about my music taste is that I don't need to understand the language to really like a song. That's something I kind of already knew about myself. I've been really into Eurovision for a few years now, and I've always been really intrigued by the songs that aren't in English. Many of my favorite Eurovision songs are in a foreign language. I also listen to a lot of Latin pop and reggaeton. I love listening to Bad Bunny and Rosalia, two artists that are renowned for their strong lyrical abilities in a language I don't speak. Just because I can't understand the lyrics upon first listen doesn't mean I don't get something out of the song. If I really like a song, I'll look up the translated lyrics and read them, so next time I hear the song, I'll know what the artist is really saying. That's basically listening to music with extra steps. But when I hear the foreign lyrics to a song I love, that language barrier has basically come crashing down. That's kind of a downside with music that you don't really have as much in film and other visual mediums. Reading subtitles in a foreign film doesn't hamper your viewing experience much, at least not for me. My method of looking up the lyrics is the closest thing I can think of to subtitles for music. Except for, of course, watching the music video with subtitles. And yes, sometimes they make English versions of popular foreign songs, but...
No! God, please, no! No!
That's not to say that lyrical content doesn't matter to me. I can appreciate, well, at least do my best to appreciate the lyrical content of songs in other languages. I'm sure I'm missing some subtle Korean wordplay in some of these songs. That's inevitable. But I can really lose myself in a lot of these songs. And sonically, K-pop really has such a unique sound from other parts of the music industry. And I should mention here that it's hard to call K-pop just a genre of music. K-pop really is a fusion genre, combining several elements from different genres to make this unique sound. Generally speaking, most K-pop hits today have a catchy hook, Korean and English lyrics, a rap break, and an EDM dance beat throughout. A lot of K-pop kind of sounds like someone took parts from every genre and put it all in a blender. And I mean that as a huge compliment. And that's not to say that K-pop is a monolith. It very much is not. Different groups and artists bring their own unique flavors into the mix. Take Mamamoo, for example. They are a 4-piece girl group that is known for incorporating retro and R&B sounds into their music. They will put a funk or jazzy flair into one of their songs, put some rap bars in there around it, and somehow not make it sound out of place. Another good example is Dreamcatcher. They are a group that incorporates rock and metal sounds into their songs, producing songs that really sound like nothing else in K-pop, and songs that sound akin to Japanese rock. These groups' distinct flavors make the K-pop sound that much more diverse. I know some people might scoff at K-pop being diverse, but it really is, and it's becoming more diverse every year. The way that K-pop went from the 90s hip-hop sound of Seo Taiji and the Boys, to the bubblegum pop and teen pop sounds of Girls' Generation, to the synth-heavy bangers of Blackpink over the course of 25 years is simply astounding. And that's what happens when different groups and artists add their own unique sound to the mix. An interesting question to ask is, why is K-pop so much more popular in international markets than Japanese pop or Chinese pop? I don't really have a solid answer for that, but it seems like K-pop may just be better at marketing itself to overseas audiences, working hard to pump out music that can have a more general appeal. Each of those industries has loyal followings around the world, but they just don't seem to be as big as K-pop. Then again, if Gangnam Style were in Chinese or Japanese, maybe a lot less people would be talking about K-pop today. Let's talk about the music videos. Music videos are obviously a big part of the music industry. They aren't quite as big now as they were with MTV in the 80s, but music videos' relevance seems to be making a comeback through platforms like YouTube. Now, I've seen a lot of videos from across the music industry, and I gotta say, K-pop videos are really something else. In most cases, the choreography, the visuals, the cinematography, the editing, the lighting, and the production design are all extremely high quality. Many videos use multiple elaborate sets for the same video. With these videos, it's not just going and shooting on location in several different places, while that does happen too. They clearly had to build sets or green screen stuff and use very high quality CGI. You can't help but just marvel at the amount of work that went into everything you're watching. One really good example of this is the video for More and More by Twice. This might be the most colorful music video I've ever seen. The sets are amazing, the costumes are great, and the makeup and lighting make each girl look almost angelic. I mean, this thing has CGI leopards, several of them. What more could you possibly want? DNA by BTS is also a great example of combining CGI and green screens with physical sets to create breathtaking visuals. It's also extremely colorful. And while videos on such a grand scale like this are pretty much the norm in K-pop, they certainly don't have to be. Like I said, some videos can be shot on location too. Mamamoo shot their video for Windflower in Hong Kong. Twice shot their video for Likey in Vancouver. ITZY shot their video for Icy in downtown Los Angeles. Luna shot their video for Butterfly everywhere, I think. And there are several more examples of this. Videos like these really show that K-pop is a visual medium as much as it is an audible medium. And again, music videos are not unique to K-pop, but they really are leading the way when it comes to music videos. The song, the video, and the choreography are all pieces of the record. And the record would be incomplete without all of them. And speaking of choreography, dancing is another big aspect that makes K-pop so unique. Every song has its own choreographed dance with varying degrees of difficulty. You can't help but just watch in awe at these performers moving in sync like that. And as someone who has no rhythm whatsoever, it's especially captivating to watch. Other things I want to highlight. The degree to which hip-hop is infused into K-pop really makes me happy as a hip-hop fan. It really shows the strength of hip-hop's influence on the worldwide music industry. And it's really worth noting that K-pop really wouldn't exist today without hip-hop's influence. Maybe 10 or 15 years ago, it seems that there were more groups that did mainly pop music, and then there were other groups that did mainly hip-hop. Nowadays, it seems like those two factions have just fused. The brightest K-pop song may have a rap break in the middle and one that doesn't feel cheesy. And you're seeing that these groups are really good at blending pop and hip-hop together. Big Bang is a group that is hip-hop to their core, but they often experiment with that sound and can make songs that sound really different from each other without abandoning that trademark hip-hop flair. Look at BTS. A lot of their earlier work seems to have gravitated more towards hip-hop. That's kind of how they started out. But they've also done a lot of bouncier pop songs in more recent years. Their most popular songs seem to be when they can find a good balance in blending pop and hip-hop together, like an Idol. Or when they can seemingly insulate the rap part in the middle of a pop or dance-heavy song, like in DNA. And if you're one of those people who thinks that women can't rap, look no further than K-pop. Most girl groups have a member who serves as the rapper for their songs. While rapping may not be the only thing that they do, it's where these stars arguably shine the brightest. The best among these include Lisa and Jennie from Blackpink, Soyeon from Idol, and my personal favorite, Moonbyo from Mamamoo. As much as K-pop is known for its songs and artists, it's also known for their crazy loyal fan bases. For some people, the first thing they think of when they think of K-pop is those fans. They have names. Blinks for Blackpink, The Army for BTS, Onces for Twice, Reveloves for Red Velvet. They're known for their own brand of stan culture and, let's say, heavy social media presence. The fans are so engaged and completely devoted to their favorite idols that they blow all of their fandoms out of the water. During some live performances, the audience can be heard screaming the lyrics while the artists are singing, completely drowning them out. But why are K-pop fans so loyal and devoted, especially compared to other fandoms? I have a theory. It's because there are more opportunities for K-pop fans to interact with their favorite stars than in other sectors of the music industry. Idols are on TV a lot. They perform their songs on weekly music programs, of which there are several. These also act as competition programs between K-pop artists and groups. Imagine a Eurovision happening every week. They also appear on several talk shows and variety shows. American and European artists do this too, but Korean artists just seem to do more of it. And when they aren't doing that, they are hosting live streams with their fans. They don't see their fans' faces, but the fans get to ask them questions, and the idols may answer them. I know most musical acts do this to a certain extent, but K-pop artists do it a lot. They stream by themselves, they stream with other idols, they stream as an entire group. They are always streaming. And I think being able to see these artists in a less formal setting means a ton to the fans and makes them feel like they know their favorite idol. Through these live streams and media appearances, the idols get plenty of opportunities to show their personalities to the world, and especially their fans. When fans get to see hours of content of their favorite idol, not just performing, but also acting like a person, it's not hard to see why stan culture is such a mainstay in K-pop. Unfortunately, this culture of extreme enthusiasm for a certain artist can sometimes breed severe hostility for other artists, even for fellow band members. There are many examples of artists being nitpicked and harassed online about their stage presence or their personal lives by diehard fans of other groups or artists, or by trolls who just like to spread the misery all around, sometimes to tragic consequences. That kind of behavior does give K-pop fandom as a whole a reputation of being toxic, which is obviously unfair to the vast majority of K-pop fans who don't engage in this kind of online harassment. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention some other things about K-pop that concern me a little as a new fan. It does bother me how manufactured and fake a lot of K-pop feels. That's true with a lot of popular music, but it feels especially true for K-pop. But aside from that, my worries don't involve the fans or artists. They revolve around the record companies who manage them. The training process for aspiring idols is notoriously intense, where these kids go to an academy to train for the sole pursuit of becoming a K-pop star. And when they get to that point, the idols have to follow a very strict set of rules set by the company. These rules can vary by company. SM may have different rules than YG, for example, but it's usually along the lines of no drinking, no dating, no driving, no personal social media accounts, at least at first, and you have to get permission to go anywhere unsupervised. That's not even touching on the constant daily practice combined with the often very strict diets. And did you know that the idols in most of these groups still share an apartment that's owned and paid for by the record company? The girls from Blackpink are millionaires while they still live in a shared apartment. And I'm sure it's a very nice apartment, it's still a shared apartment. Now, to be fair, this does make logistical sense in corralling the group for events and practices, but still, it sounds kinda odd, doesn't it? I do truly worry about these things, but honestly, it really doesn't make me like K-pop any less. I've gotten to the point where I really like these artists and the work that they're putting out. I may not be thrilled about supporting these record companies, but those concerns won't stop me from supporting these artists. I want to close out this video by talking about where K-pop is heading. If you've been paying attention to the genre recently, it should be pretty clear what direction K-pop is heading. That direction is west. Since the success of Gangnam Style, the K-pop industry has been tirelessly searching for ways to break through in the international market, and particularly the American market. K-pop and Korean media in general is more popular in the US now than ever before. They are having a moment. Look at this list of YouTube's most viewed music videos in their first 24 hours. As of this recording, 8 of the top 10 are K-pop songs. That is a truly insane statistic. But even with this Korean wave, America won't accept anyone unless they cater to them. The US market won't bend for you, you have to bend for it. So how are they doing this? Korean artists are pumping out more music with a more general appeal. But that's not even the most important tool that K-pop is using to break through the West. That tool, of course, is English. Idols are learning how to speak English a lot more because the record companies recognize that proficiency in English can make success and exposure a lot easier in the West. Not even just in English-speaking countries either. A big reason why BTS and Blackpink have made such a mark in the West has a lot to do with their use of English. Most of the group's singles in the past few years have had major parts in English, with almost every song having an English hook. That comes pretty easy for Blackpink, since all 4 girls speak English. Yes, all of them.
Jisoo, how are you feeling? Is this something are you okay? You don't seem that scared. You seem pretty cool.
I'm not scary.
And as for BTS, while they may not all be fluent in English, they sure do sing in it a lot. Dynamite is the only K-pop song to reach #1 in the US and stay there for more than a week. And it's entirely in English. And that's not even mentioning the fact that BTS's remix feature got Jason Derulo's Savage Love to #1 due to the mere presence of BTS. That should say a lot about how massively popular that group is. And BTS is on American TV quite a bit, frequently appearing on talk and variety shows. Being fluent in English gives a group or artist a better ability to do that. That's something that seems to be holding Twice back to a certain extent. Their more recent songs have really been going for general appeal and maturing their image just a bit. They've stepped back from that cute image that doesn't do quite as well outside of Asia, and now they seem to be coming for that dark and sexy lane that Blackpink occupies. It's just a shame that you don't see them on American TV more, and the fact that they don't have a fluent English speaker to get them through interviews could be hurting them on that front. Maybe if they could play carpool karaoke with James Corden, that would help their sales over here, especially as they're trying to tweak their image. I'm not criticizing them for not speaking English, but I do think that's something that could be holding them back from greater success in the West. And I'm not necessarily saying that K-pop should be using more English in their songs. In fact, many Korean fans would probably disagree with that. There's an argument to be made that K-pop's pursuit of the Western market is diminishing what made K-pop so unique in the first place. After all, you take the K away, it's just pop. I watched a video where the members of Mamamoo were reacting to Americans reacting to their songs. And one of the reactors said that if the girls weren't singing in Korean, he would have thought that they were American, and that this was American music.
아니었었으면 그냥 이거 완전 미국 노래일 것 같다고요.
You can kind of tell from Mamamoo's reaction that they might not see this as a compliment. Yes, their music is clearly inspired by American music, but they would probably like to think that they're not just making Western sounding music that happens to be in Korean. I get the feeling that K-pop is going through an internal struggle between what their priorities should be. Should they try to conquer the world at the risk of alienating their base of support? Or should they focus on making what their Korean fans respond to best while still aspiring to become a mainstay in Western markets? What's clear to me is that K-pop will not revert to relative obscurity in the same way it did after Gangnam Style. Psy got K-pop's foot in the door, but BTS and Blackpink swung it wide open. I don't think that door is gonna close anytime soon. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's off the hinges at this point. I think K-pop's world domination is imminent. Someday, Westerners will just see it as pop music that happens to come from Korea, and not some trendy fad. Now, whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, that's up to you. As for me, I would definitely call myself a K-pop fan now. It was a long time coming, but K-pop finally got me fully on board. And I'll be far from the last convert. Changing people's attitudes and winning over new fans is how K-pop is going to succeed in the future. Say annyeonghaseyo to the future kings and queens of the music industry. It's just a matter of time. Thank you so much for watching this video. It really was a lot of work. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. I'm not sure what this YouTube channel is going to be. I would like to do more videos like this, hopefully with a focus on international media. I could do more K-pop stuff, who knows. But if you want to stay informed on what I do next, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks.